In the early 1960s, a young man from Oregon named Phil Knight had a crazy idea that would change the world of sports forever. Phil was a middle-distance runner at the University of Oregon, but he wasn't a superstar. He was a dreamer with an obsession for efficiency. At the time, the world of athletic footwear was dominated by two German giants, Adidas and Puma. These shoes were expensive and hard to get. While finishing his MBA at Stanford, Phil wrote a research paper proposing that high-quality, low-cost Japanese running shoes could do to German shoes what Japanese cameras had done to German cameras. But a paper wasn't enough. He needed to act. In 1962, with a borrowed $500 from his father, Phil traveled to Japan. He met with executives at Onitsuka Tiger and on the spot invented a company name, Blue Ribbon Sports. He secured the rights to distribute their shoes in the western United States. When the first shipment of 12 pairs arrived, Phil sent 2 of them to his former track coach, Bill Bowerman. Bill wasn't just a coach, he was a mad scientist of footwear. He would often rip apart his runners' shoes to make them lighter and faster. Bill saw the potential and became Phil's partner with a simple handshake. In those early days, there was no fancy office. Phil sold shoes out of the trunk of his green Plymouth Valiant at track meets across the Pacific Northwest. He lived and breathed the grit of the running world. By 1971, Blue Ribbon Sports was growing, but the relationship with the Japanese supplier was falling apart. Phil realized that if they wanted to survive, they had to stop selling someone else's shoes and start making their own. They needed a brand, an identity, and most importantly, a logo. They hired a graphic design student named Carolyn Davidson for $2 an hour. She came up with a simple checkmark-like shape meant to convey motion and speed. Phil wasn't impressed at first, famously saying, "I don't love it, but maybe it will grow on me." He paid her $35 for what would become the most famous logo in history, the swoosh. The name Nike didn't come from Phil either. He wanted to call the company Dimension 6. It was his first employee, Jeff Johnson, who had a dream about the Greek goddess of victory, Nike. The name stuck just hours before the first boxes were printed, but they needed a technological breakthrough to stand out. That breakthrough happened at a breakfast table. Bill Bowerman was watching his wife make waffles and wondered if the grid pattern of the waffle iron could provide better traction for runners. He took the iron to his lab, poured liquid rubber into it, and though he ruined the appliance, he created the Waffle Trainer. It was lightweight, durable, and gave runners a grip they had never experienced before. Despite the innovation, the 1980s brought a massive slump. Nike was losing ground to Reebok, who had captured the new aerobics craze. Phil Knight knew they needed to pivot from being just a running company to a sports and culture company. In 1984, they took a massive gamble on a rookie basketball player from North Carolina named Michael Jordan. At the time, basketball shoes were boring and mostly white. Nike created the Air Jordan 1 in bold black and red. The NBA banned the shoes for violating uniform rules, fining Jordan $5,000 per game. Nike happily paid every fine, turning the ban into a brilliant marketing campaign. The message was clear: these shoes were too good for the status quo. The Air Jordan revolution transformed Nike into a global powerhouse. It proved that athletes weren't just players, they were icons. In 1988, during a meeting with an ad agency, the slogan "Just Do It" was born, inspired, strangely enough, by the final words of a convict, but it resonated with the world. It captured the American spirit of determination. Nike began signing stars like Tiger Woods, Serena Williams, and Cristiano Ronaldo, cementing its place in every corner of the globe. Today, Nike is worth over $150 billion. From a suitcase in Japan to the feet of billions, the story of Nike is a testament to the power of a crazy idea. It's a story of a coach's obsession, a runner's vision, and a student's simple drawing. It reminds us that every giant began with a small step, a lot of sweat, and the courage to ignore the critics. Phil Knight started with $500 and a dream to change how we move. He didn't just build a brand, he built a philosophy. Because if you have a body, you are an athlete. Just do it. If you want to explore more amazing discoveries, hidden truths, and fun facts from history, make sure to follow and subscribe to our channel.